Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up on a weekend which two very famous Texans were born. Now there are two, just ironically, when you say two Texans have a birthday, there are only two kinds of Texans really. Native Texans and those that got here as fast as they could. Now I was asked to do the Native Texan by Miss W. Hagen. Well, it took the one that got here as fast as he could, a little over 49 years to get here. He celebrates a birthday, this one that got here as fast as he could. It took nearly a half century. He celebrates a birthday Monday, August 17th. His name was David Crockett. Y'all all heard of him. All of y'all out there have heard of him. But August 16th is the day that this native Texan was born. August 16th, now David Crockett was born in Tennessee. Came to Texas as fast as he could. August 16th is known as sort of a sad day in the state of Kentucky, as it is all over the world. And it's sad here in Texas too, because we all remember the news we got on August 16th, 1977. And we learned that the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, had passed away. But here in Texas, we've got a little bit of reason to have a spirit about that August 16th, because August 16th here in Texas, we were blessed with a treasure. A man who maybe, had he been born earlier, may have found himself in the Bible, because you could say about this man, this native Texan, that maybe he was born to be known as everybody's brother. He was a father's son, and Victory was his mother. This is almost a description that this man says of his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ when he says he was born to be known as everybody's brother. He was and is a father's son, and Mary is his mother. And like this native Texan, his Lord and Savior is a compound country kind of guy. Well, these words, they describe Jesus Christ, and they were said about Jesus by Billy Joe Shaver, who may be a modern day Job, if you read about Job in the Bible. Because Billy Joe Shaver, even before he was born, was suffering, was a recipient, victim of intense pain. A storybook about his life accounts about how the fact that his dad, somewhat belligerently, threw his mother down on the ground and kicked her in the stomach about 3 months before Billy Joe was born. When Billy Joe was born, and you'll hear this in a song called Georgia on a Fast Train, the day after he was born, his mother, when Billy Joe was born on August 16, 1939, in Corsicana, Texas, the next day his mother took off for Waco to go to work, and he was raised by his grandmother. And once again in the song about Georgia on the Fast Train, Billy Joe mentions, do I dare to mention without my grandma's old age pension, I wouldn't be standing here today. That he is and he was. She died when Billy Joe was 12, so he moved down to Waco where his mom was working at a place called the Green Gables. You'd hear about that place later on in the song, not necessarily by Billy Joe Shaver at first, but a man by the name of Waylon Jennings talked about a place called Green Gables. Well, he was hawking them tables, generally spending all of his hard-earned pay. Waylon Jennings sang those words in 1972 on an album called Honky Tonk Heroes. That was Billy Joe Shaver who wrote the songs down. But I digress and I get ahead of myself, because we need to describe the hard life that Billy Joe had when he moved to Waco at the age of 12. He was a hard-scrabble, typical kid that made John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath look like the story of Howdy Doody. Billy Joe Shaver was growing up with a hard life. Literally, he would have to fight his way on and off the schoolyard. But this hard kid, this kid that had to fight and struggle for everything, in the 8th grade, He had an English teacher who saw something in him. He was just a typical redneck, hard kid. But his English teacher said, you know something, son? I want you to come to my class after work, after class. Well, Billy Joe thought he was in trouble. He thought he was going to be sent to the principal. But she sat him down and said, you know, you have a gift. I don't think you know it or not. You don't know how to speak English very well. You say ain't, and you have bad, foul language. But when you write something down on paper, I see something beautiful when you write words on paper. You have a gift. You don't need to work hard out in these fields and these cotton fields all your life, or do odd jobs, or work with your hands and beat yourself to death and be an old man by the time you're 40. You have this gift. I want you to remember this gift. You know how to put beautiful words on paper. Well, Billy Joe thought about it, but probably not for very long, because right at the end of the 8th grade, he quit school. Not long after that, he joined the Navy. But his tour of Navy didn't last the full tour, because Billy Joe, and this is some words officially, he got kicked out of the Navy for punching out an officer. Here's the way it happened. Billy Joe was at a party. There was a smart mouth guy in a civilian suit was running his mouth, probably saying something bad about Texans. Billy Joe laid him out with that right hand. He didn't know the man was an officer. And when he was approached after the fact, he was told, you know, you don't have to leave the Navy. We can put you in stockade for a little while. You can come out. We're going to reduce your rank because you did hit an officer. He filed charges. You don't have to leave the Navy. But Billy Joe said, well, I'll just go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go back to home to Waco. So the Navy let Billy Joe go. Another bad mark on his life. This young guy who'd already had a hard life to start with. Life remained hard. He went back to Waco, the Central Texas area. He got a series of hard jobs like pumping gas. You could do that for a living back then. Trying to sell cars. He even broke horses, even made a little bit of a, what you might call a foray into rodeo, competing in rodeo, and had a job in a sawmill down that way. Now, when you meet Billy Joe today, he has a couple of references to that early time. Ask Billy Joe, what is the dumbest animal in the world? He said, well, I used to think that a horse was the dumbest animal in the world, but I've come to the conclusion that anybody who owns a horse is the dumbest animal in the world. And then he'll reach out and he'll shake your hand. And that right hand is a reminder of a devastating accident that happened to him in that sawmill. He lost most of 4 fingers on a saw.